Hello and welcome to Body, the Cloud9 fan cast. I am Havokpus, and I'm joined by frozencreek and Dr. Manhatten.
What up? What up?
What goes on?
Well, so some things went on. This is kind of a slow week for Cloud9, but we got some stuff going on, and we're gonna talk about it. So thanks for joining me. A quick little bit of information. I didn't really get to see a lot of it, but not Torment. Squishy and Gimmick participated in the Central Regional NBC Universal Open thingy. It's a mouthful, I know, but they ended up winning the Central region. They won the whole thing. They're the Central champions, so they'll be going on to sort of the Grand Finals tournament, whenever the hell that is. But our first bit of news, actual news, I guess. Mango participated at Evo, and he got 5th place.
Yeah, it's been a slew of not very outstanding tournaments from Manga. Though, if I were to be fairly honest, Evo for Melee was pretty weird to say the very least. I mean, if you asked anybody had a guy that Leffen was gonna win the whole thing, I mean, you'd probably say yeah, I wouldn't believe you there. But definitely looking a bit uncharacteristic for him. Didn't really do well against Plup, and Plup wasn't really playing at his finest. Um, I will say I think there was a fun fact that Hurrybox tweeted saying how every single major tournament that from Smash is actually won by a different player. It's like I think what Summit was Mewtwo King, Evo was Leffen, I think Armada took Smash and Splash, and then basically he's predicting that Mango will either take Smash Con, which is coming up this weekend, which I think he's participating in, and then you have Shine, and then I forget what the tournament is. So if all goes well, Mango's definitely due for something.
Yeah, hopefully he wins. He's been having a lot of disappointing results lately. I'm not sure if it's just maybe he's getting too old and he can't pull off those combos anymore. Maybe he's kind of maybe been struggling with his drive. I know maybe I think it might just be that he's been hit kind of hard with Tafo leaving, because when Tafo was with him, he was actually performing really well and it gave him a lot of structure. But with Tafo gone, sort of back to the same old Mango where he's kind of hot or kind of cold, and he's you know sometimes just struggling to do stuff.
Yeah, most definitely.
One thing I do want to talk about for Evo before we move on, because there's not really a lot to talk about for Mango, but the fact that Sonic Fox won, I can't remember which game it was, but he's apparently insane at every single fighting game he plays. And I bring it up because he's a furry. I don't know how the best way to lead into this information, but what's so interesting about him as a person is that he just doesn't let anything bother him. Like, he just is himself and he doesn't care. So he's just an honest person, and I find his story very interesting.
Yeah, I mean, this is actually the thing about him is the game was I think it was what DB Fighter Z, and the really interesting about Sonic Fox is there's been multiple times where he's dominated random titles in Evo. He was one of the best Injustice players at one point. He was also a really good Mortal Kombat player, and that's actually where he got a lot of his name was from. I think MKX and a lot of early Soul Calibur games. But that one was a really good showing, simply because people were saying, "Oh, all right, well, how are you going to be with a quote unquote just quote unquote?" I don't agree with this term, but they're like, "How are you going to be in a tournament that's with a relevant fighter? Like a big game like a Tekken or a Street Fighter?" And he actually managed to win it quite convincingly, to say the very least. And yeah, no, if it's one thing, if it was one highlight from Evo that left on a positive note, was probably that final, because that was probably the best thing I saw all weekend.
Yeah, and I think it's just interesting that he's able to win titles through different games and not stay in one spot. So I guess he's sort of always constantly trying to improve himself. It's this is kind of a topic from the show, but I think that his story is just super interesting, and I think we should at least talk about it a little bit because it's very interesting.
Oh yeah, most definitely.
But anyway, let's move on to actual news concerning Cloud9. our CSGO team actually has a fourth official player now. Golden, who stood in for us as one of our missing slots in the previous tournament, which I can't remember what it's called, but Golden stood in for us, and the team really liked what we saw. The coaches liked what we saw, and Jack liked what he saw. So we signed him as an official player. Hooray.
Yeah, kind of. If the team trusts, I mean, I'm kind of mixed on this one. If I'm being honest, like it's not like I'm pumped for it. Though obviously because of a million reasons, I wish I could be more pumped for something like this. I definitely saw some potential in him in that. What was it in E League that we played when we played against like
I think so.
That was when he was decided. Yeah. Definitely was impressed with him. My only fear is, I mean, we're in August right now, and what?
Yeah, we have not had an actual full starting roster for like almost 6 months or something. It's honestly unacceptable, and the fact that the team is continuing to drag their feet about it is very annoying.
Yeah, and on top of the fact that we're right around major season, which is around like what 2-3 weeks from now.
Yes.
So it's definitely a big concern. Like basically, if they even want like a chance at getting or retaining their legend status, which again I seriously doubt they will. It's gonna be crunch time for these guys, and hopefully they can pull it off or like pull off something to see like that we don't have like the worst result. But that's what should be more or less on their mind is one, getting the synergy down within this small crunch time, and on top of that, just again trying their absolute best to retain legend status.
Yeah, talking about the golden pick itself, I think this is actually fine. I think this is a solid pickup. Golden, clearly when Golden was playing, you saw an instant improvement with the team in terms of just how they operated as a unit, strategically. So I think that Golden will definitely have benefits. He's a solid player. He's not too flashy, from at least from the small bit that I've seen. And when he was on Fnatic, Fnatic actually looked pretty good, and they were able to have some small successes. So I think Golden is fine. My issue is with what we do going into the major and after, because the rumor is Cloud9 is going to be standing in with Styko again. And I'm really not happy about that because nothing against him personally. Styko does not have the firepower. He, he's a good supportive player, and if being just purely a supportive kind of playstyle is fine, but that's not what Cloud9 needs. Yet, they're still having to stick with him either because that's the only thing they could get, or they're again still dragging their feet about. It's like, oh, we don't know who we're gonna get. You need to figure this out because you're gonna get out of the group stage pretty quickly, I think. And I just think that Styko's just not gonna cut it when it comes to what the team needs and his skill set. So I think it's just a frustrating thing. I think the team is planning on making an official pick after the whole major roster swapping starts, sort of similar to in Dota 2 with the Invitational. Once the Invitational is over, pretty much everyone just scatters and starts swapping players. So that seems to be the plan. I really don't want that to be, because you're messing with your street cred a bit, in that you're fucking around for almost half a year without an actual official roster.
Yeah, it's definitely gonna be pretty just scary to see like what they do right now, and also some of the teams that I see also in like the challengers, like there's definitely, I mean, obviously already within like the legends they're standing, like half those are actually pretty decent teams. Like I would definitely be sweating about like guys like FaZe and Navi and Mouse and G2. But then if you remember, as I'm looking at the current challengers or like the minor, like one of the minor guys, you also got guys like Liquid who were definitely no joke. Strawless right now are in the new challenges, and they're pretty much arguably the best team in like the world right now. So yeah, it's not gonna be easy. So I'm still hoping for the best for these
My
guys.
only consolation prize will be seeing. I hopefully will see Tariq and Stewie crash and burn at this event and not get out of groups. If MIBR cannot get out of groups, I will at least count that as a small victory.
Yeah, quite possibly.
My hatred burns deep, and you can feel it.
Oh
and want
yeah,
everyone to feel it.
you can cut that tension with a butter knife, bro. I don't
It
even blame you,
is
man.
it is a furnace that sustains me. So I guess we should move on before I just start slandering them even more. Let's talk about League of Legends because Cloud9 had another 2-0 week, and boy howdy was it good.
The only thing I'll say in terms of like looking back at this week specifically is I have absolutely zero clue how they made that comp against Clutch Gaming work, where it was like the one where your entire win.
Where it was Jin, Zillion, Tom Kench,
Yeah,
Mundo, and what did
and
Blabber
Nocturne.
play?
It was Nocturne. He was basically
Nocturne,
the win
right?
condition. He was essentially the win condition there, because with the supremely inconsistent damage coming out of like Jin, even with Halo Blades, Jin now being like the current build that people go to, that's like a go to. Jensen just wasn't being Jensen as we know him traditionally. He's actually being more of a supportive role. But actually, one thing I'm looking at actually one thing I'm looking at right now is he actually did. Am I looking at the right stat? I'm not sure. But he did actually a decent amount of damage and actually got a good amount of picks in that one. But yeah,
I mean, that's
basically,
just Jensen on Zillion. He's undefeated.
yeah, he's been doing pretty well on that one. Yeah, I have no idea how they made that work, and had that gone to maybe 3-4 more minutes, that would have been game. Considering Swain and Zaya would just scale out of control, but no, they actually impressed me how they could actually make that work. Just to kind of pull them back to reality a bit, it is Clutch, who I think are dead last right now. Very surprisingly, considering how they were
I think they're
last week.
tied with CLG. I think.
Yeah, they're tied. If not, they're just dead last. Like it's not good for them right now. And then they also had CLG, which I think that was fun fact the quickest. That was the quickest match of the week, where I think we barely passed the
Yeah,
30
it
mark.
was.
Yeah, so definitely proud of them there. And if the trajectory is going at the way it is right now, playoffs are looking a bit more realistic. I think I saw some of the conditions that need to happen that honestly I think are within reason to say. Winning out obviously is going to be challenging considering we're in the next 2 weeks we're going to face two of the best teams in the NALCS as it goes right now. One of which we're playing on Sunday, which is TL. On the bright side, I think we do open up with Golden Guardians, who are in a bit of a slump after that small little honeymoon phase they had, like probably like a third into the split. And I think one of the conditions that we would have to have in order for to go to playoffs or at least improve us is if we actually manage to beat Golden Guardians, because I think Golden Guardians has to like win out to even have a shot. So if even if they go 1-1, chances are not good for Golden Guardians. So that's like Saturday is that's kind of like a match that's more important than people think because Cloud9 at that point controls their entire destiny, or at least improves their chances in that matchup.
Yeah, it's definitely looking a lot better. I think the most interesting thing is like since Blabber has come in, the team just looks so much more revitalized. They seem to be playing a lot better. I think Blabber's constant aggression, no matter how dumb it is at least forcing the other players to really think on their toes because like okay, Blabbers might go in here, so we have to be ready, and they have to really play with that aggression, and that's a good energy because C9's really good at team fighting, and you're getting them back into winning through team fighting, and I think they've looked a lot better. One interesting thing is with the zillion comps that they played, it's essentially they've been putting themselves on a timer for this week. The game against Clutch especially, and that is something they've never been good at. But this week they really made it work and they played it near perfectly, or as perfectly as you can get. So I think Cloud9's done a really good job of trying to improve as much as they can. And I hope the trend continues. I mean, Licorice has essentially broken his back, I don't know how many times, carrying the team, and Blabber has really come together and being this jungler that the kind of jungler that C9 needs. And Jensen's been trying to step up, Sneaky's trying to step up, and Zazel's just trying not to fall behind. So I think overall the team is really coming together in a really positive way.
Most definitely, and not only that, I'm actually looking at the stand right now. For reference, we're at now an even 7-7, which actually that's the first time we've been at a 500 record since week 1. So really, just to really give a context how much the team has improved, we have not even been at 500 since week 1. When I think we beat like Optic and they lost to Clutch. Um, in terms of the teams we're tied with, which is actually right now Optic and Fly, all sitting at 7-7 records. We're definitely in a good spot right now because Optic has an absolute nightmare of the next 4 games.
Yeah, don't they have to play like Echo Fox and Team
They
Liquid
have to play
and
Echo Fox,
like
Team
all the heavy
Liquid,
hitters?
100 Thieves, and I think in week 9 they play someone, or I think it's this week. Yeah, they play Echo Fox and Team Liquid this weekend, which are not going to be easy by any means. Their easiest game is next Saturday where they play against TSM. So, but other than that, they have all the heavy hitters right now. FlyQuest has a few other heavy hitters where they have to play. I'm looking at it right now. They have to play Golden Guardians. We still have to play them again, and then they also have to play Clutch and CLG. So they probably have the easiest schedule of all of us in terms of all the 7-7 teams. And ours is relatively balanced. So again, we have to play Golden Guardians and we have to play FlyQuest, but we also have to play Team Liquid and 100 Thieves. But with the way it's going at it right now, I definitely think it's within reason that we can beat Golden Guardians if we stay focused. It'd be nice to take a game off of like one of the top teams like 100 Thieves or Team Liquid. Would definitely wouldn't hurt us a bit. And yeah, and considering most of these teams like TSM and I think like all the teams at the bottom of the standings right now, like yeah, TSM is only a team right now with any sort of chance because they're at a 6-8 record. But even then, things are looking bleak for them, and basically CLG, GG, and GGS and Clutch Gaming are unofficially out. It's looking a lot bleaker for them, so definitely we're not in a bad spot. All eyes, again, repeating myself, all eyes are going to be on that Golden Guardian series because if we can win that one, we're like 60% guaranteed to go to playoffs at the very least. And on top of that, because Clutch might not go to playoffs, we can get ourselves at least a half decent spot in the gauntlet if things don't work out in playoffs. So it's kind of like small victories that we have to take one step at a time.
Yeah, and I think that's the key to just us doing well. I think at most we should just hope to go 1-1 for the final 2 weeks and just focus on getting into playoffs. I think that's really all that matters right now. Forget Worlds, forget the Gauntlet, forget playoffs even. Just focus on actually getting into playoffs, and then they can start to worry about other stuff. I think as long as they don't get too ahead of themselves, I think they can do okay.
Absolutely, and luckily that's kind of the approach we've been taking this whole season because we were in a deep, deep hole where we were dead last, like what, week 3, week 4.
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah, and the fact that they've been just taking this one game at a time, on top of the fact that now this meta is starting to look a bit more familiar in terms of where we left off in spring. At least that's what I was hearing. I was actually right before this listening to Narrative Wake, where Zyrene and Cosmos were talking about the way the meta is shaping out right now. Now that we're done with the weird mage comps and like funnel and stuff like that, we're kind of like we're in a weird spot, like back to basically imagine like if spring season kind of reset with just a few different picks. That's kind of where we are, and it's going to be more comfortable for us. Blabbert is popping the hell off, and if he doesn't get rookie of the split, I might throw a tantrum because I mean, granted, the class of rookies hasn't been too outstanding. I think the only people who are eligible are Greg and Zazel.
Greg has been playing like garbage.
Yeah.
At least from what I've heard. I haven't watched any of the TSM games, but
yeah, it hasn't been
he's been garbage.
It hasn't been terribly impressive, but then again, neither is that team right now. Zazel, I think, is a rookie, and I don't think DeMonte classifies as a rookie because I think he played a few games for Echo Fox last season, actually.
How about Loss?
Lost as a rookie, yes.
Yeah, but he's only played 1 week. I
yeah,
believe,
that's why I think Blabber is probably, and especially considering like the whole narrative that Blabber like had to replace Fenskaren on a team that was like dead last and comes out and all of a sudden it clicked. I think in terms of narratives and just the way Cloud9's been looking, I think Blabber is gonna be almost a shoo-in for rookie of the split. Which, fun fact, we have 3 of the past 4 rookie of the splits in the past 2 splits. So
it just proves that Cloud9 is very good at developing talent.
No question.
So I think let's move on to our upcoming matches. Who do we play this weekend?
So it's GGS and Team Liquid.
Okay, so we already talked about it a little bit. What I want to how I want to frame this discussion is, so the meta has shifted a bit. I think they nerfed Kindred. I think they changed some other stuff. I haven't really been paying attention to game changes much, but it seems that Blabber is super comfortable on champions that allow him to be aggressive and also have a lot of safety. So like the Kindred, Elise has similar safety nets. The Nocturne, along with Zillion, Tom Kench safety combo, he's basically using his aggression as well as champions that have a safety net to allow him to basically play how he wants. My question is, what's going to happen once these sort of safety net champions start going away? What happens when he has to start playing something else? Like what happened? He has to play like Sejuani, for instance, or some jungler that isn't as safe. Can Blabber play as well, and can the team perform as well through it, or is the team gonna really struggle?
That's definitely a good question to bring up. In terms of more supportive ones, the ones I do expect to come back a bit more. Actually, I'm looking at the patch right now that we're going to expect, which is 8.15, which is basically going to be the patch from here on out. So anybody listening to this right now, if I'm estimating correctly, the patch the last patch that we had, which is going to be the current patch live on, which is 8.15. That's what we're going to be going on from now. So, and also they're probably going to disable Akali because that's probably the smart thing to do. So, on the bright side, the only like aggressive quote unquote one we'll have that are like kind of similar to Kindred would be probably Lee Sin, because he got some substantial buffs in that patch. The only champion I kind of fear that we may like lose in terms of some of it is possibly I think that Morgana in lane is actually not as impressive as she used to be. I think they overall upped her mana cost. But the marksman buffs are coming in, which might help Sneaky a bit, and that's actually where we really need to start looking towards at least trying to find some sort of carry potential. I don't think that Kindred is dead. However, because of the whole changes to 80 items that are going to come in, I think we definitely need to start at least eyeing Sneaky a bit, or anybody who can play marksman on the team right now.
Yeah, I hopefully C9 is able to be a bit adaptive in these changes and already has a game plan going forward, because sometimes that isn't their strong suit. Frozen, do you have any opinions on this stuff? You've been quiet.
No, I think Dr. Manhatten pretty much talked about all I wanted to say about the patch. The only thing I'm kind of surprised that we haven't seen is really some quirky play, and I think that the crit item changes are going to make him more playable than what he was when they buffed his E and armor shred. So I really wanted to see some more quirky, and
I'd love to see Jensen pick up Quirky again. Jensen was so good on Quirky.
He really was. Another pick out I'm curious to see about is see if Licorice could break it out, because I've seen like it's not meta, but it's definitely like one of those top laners that's appearing every now and then. I want to see what Licorice can do on Rumble, because that's definitely a pick that I've been seeing a bit more, and some of the team fighting I've seen of guys like Flame, and I think even some of the European and Korean top laners has been like, whoa, like I didn't even know that this guy was actually somewhat of a prioritized pick. I'm not saying that they need to just put emphasis saying, well, you know what, all in on Licorice Rumble, but I want to see it just to see like if he's actually comfortable with it, and if because we already know that he's win conditioned to some degree because he's been breaking his back all season. But on top of that, it's kind of just a cheeky like old remnant to like back when we had balls and his Rumble was like world class.
Yeah, I think there's no question that Licorice probably has a good handle on Rumble. He seems to be able to just play about it now. I think he's put in a tremendous amount of work to improve because the team really needs him. So hopefully it just all goes well. But I can't think of anything else to say.
Yeah, I just want to see Licorice on Rumble. Also, he's like my favorite champion to watch, just because I love when people get super hyped about the equalizer.
Oh, it's definitely a lot of fun to see like a really good equalizer. Like those are like the moments that really, really are memorable in League of Legends.
Yeah, for sure. But I guess we should move on to predictions. So what is everyone's predictions for next weekend?
I think a 1-1 is feasible, considering again Golden Guardians are not in the most favorable position. The whole mage bot thing isn't dead, but it's less favorable, and we saw that a lot of the strategies that they were going towards, like make mid smite Talon, Heisen or what was it? Heisendong. I was gonna he was taught by Heisendong. The Heimerdinger bot lane's kind of a bit stifled and a bit less more viable. On top of the fact that they've been losing to teams that they really have no business losing to with these really weird comps. Really, unless Mickey can absolutely do something, or like contracts can, it's not really looking favorable for Golden Guardians. And if we win that one, we should be good to go for playoffs. Team Liquid, again, very tough opponent. Meta's going back to bot lane, which is more bot lane centric. Guess how Team Liquid likes to play when you have double lift, a very bot lane centric meta. Um, I think a 1-1 is absolutely feasible, but because I always expect the most out of these guys, I want a 2-0.
Yeah, I think the best bet would be a 1-1 week, but we just beat Team Liquid 2 weeks ago or something. So they're a beatable team. So I think they're gonna come out to fight, and I'm hoping that they have the game plan already. Because here on out, every game is winnable, even if it's difficult. But I know that we can beat them because we just did, and they've been playing on the best form in the league for a couple weeks. So I guess we'll have to see how bad they want playoffs.
Yeah, we'll have to see. I think 1-1's probably a good bet. We never know. I think they definitely have the potential for the 2-0, but we'll just have to see. But I have nothing else to say. Does anyone have anything else?
Not much. Just good luck to the guys, and I absolutely look forward to this week because again, and I've repeated that this is just the theme of the episode in terms of Cloud9 League. Just all eyes on that clutch game. I mean, not clutch. Golden Guardians.
All right. Well, I guess that's it for us. Thanks for listening. As always, you can follow us on Twitter at C9Bodied, or hit us up in the email at bodiedfancast@gmail.com. We'll try to answer anything that you want to answer. Just want to ask us what our opinion is on something. Hit us up. And thanks for listening. And we'll see you next time.
We'll see you next week, guys.
Bye, everyone.